Okay. Well, welcome, folks. Glad to see everybody here for the leaders meeting tonight. We are happy to have everyone here to join us for the 75th anniversary of our camp this summer. Just to introduce myself really quick, I'm Dylan Hendrickson. I'm the camping director, and I'll shoot it over to Bruce.
Hi, I'm Bruce. I'm the camp director for this year. And we also have Gavin. Why don't you wave, Gavin, who is our assistant program director, and Michael, who is our program director. That's just how their little heads are on my screen. So, uh, all right, why don't we go ahead, Dylan? You can take off here.
Yeah, so if you go to our website, which is camphighsierra.org, there's a lot of important documents that are now live. We posted most of these at the start of this week, so there's an updated version of the Leader's Guide for 2024. There is the saga of Camp High Sierra information, the bead sheets, and all of that sort of stuff. The Camp Primer, which has not changed. The new to camp presentation and video are up. So if you've got any new members of your troop or new leaders, that's a good place to send them so that they can get some information on Camp High Sierra specifically. We have our 2024 course offerings posted as well. That is the merit badge schedule along with the program guide. The program guide has the in-depth descriptions, and the course schedule shows you when the different merit badge sessions are happening, as well as some of the open program. And we have the required paperwork posted up there as well for 2024. And of course, any of the different openings in our various campgrounds for the different campsite spaces on different weeks.
So just a little housekeeping. David Hertzberg, who's on the call, will be answering questions in the chat. We're going to stop after each slide, and if there's any questions that he thinks that we should talk about live, we will do that. And then again, at the end, we'll open it up for everybody to unmute at that point and ask questions then. So, new to camp, well, not new to camp, but new to scouting in September is the rules for BSA changed. So every adult that comes to camp that is going to spend the night must be a registered scout. That also applies to drivers. So all drivers and adult leaders must be YPT trained, go through mandated reporting, and live scan and be fingerprinted. So they must be registered. Any youths that are coming that are staying more than 72 hours, which is going to be 99% of the participants, need medical forms part A, B, and C. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. If for some reason somebody is coming up just to drop off and maybe coming up a day early at the end to pick up, they again need to be a registered adult, but they only need medical forms part A and B. All right. Any questions, David? Just jump in if you hear any. All right. So going on to the required paperwork again. So health forms are parts A, B, and C. We do give the ability to have those reviewed at the council office. This will save you a lot of time at check-in because they have to review everything in the forms during your check-in process on Sundays. So if you take them to the council and have them go through and review them first, that will eliminate a lot of problems when you're at camp. And if you find you're missing something, it's much easier to get that information before you get to camp rather than trying to use our one phone line to contact people from camp. Kaiser has been kind of finicky with us in terms of they are insisting on their own part C. We have accepted it for the last 2 years and will continue to accept it. The key to look on those is sometimes the vitals are left blank. So we do need blood pressure, weight, height, those informations, those do need to be in there. There is a shooting sports release form. It does say 7 copies on the form itself, but we only need 1. And then there's also a form that you'll be filling out, a parent commit to transport. This is a bit of a carryover from COVID, but we found that it works quite well. If somebody ends up being sick, we really would like to get them out of camp as soon as possible because it just spreads in that small environment. So it's basically saying that a parent will come and pick up a scout within 24 hours and take them home. So when you get to camp, it's very important that you have all your paperwork together. So have your medical forms, your shooting sports, and your commit to pick up sorted by scout and handed out to the scout. We don't want to see a scoutmaster with a big binder trying to hand them out once they get up on the hill. We will keep you down in the flag meadow until you actually get those handed out to the scouts. Unfortunately for safety, fortunately for safety, we want to do a thorough check when everybody comes into camp, but that is our biggest bottleneck, and we would like to streamline that as much as possible. And please do not staple your health forms. Do not forget that we are checking immunization, and the big one that we look for is the tetanus or the Tdap. We are an old lumber mill, and there is a lot of metal items that do kind of poke their way through the ground every so often. We haven't had anybody step on anything lately, but that is one that we do require. And if you do not have it, either we need proof of that or we'll send you down to Sonora to get it. Prescription bottles need to be in their original. I know some people like to load them into the day at a time or whatever, but if we do have an emergency, that doesn't tell us what the pills are. So it's very hard for us to track it. So we need to have the original bottles on the pills. Like most troops, we do provide a locked medical box in each campsite for the troops. We expect you to distribute the medicines to your scouts. Now, obviously, if there's medicines that need to be refrigerated or locked up for some reason, like diabetes medicine and stuff like that, we'll be more than happy to store that in the health lodge. But the health lodge will not be providing medicine to the scouts. That is to the scouts, the leaders themselves. EpiPens and rescue inhalers, those need to stay with the scout 24/7. It does no good to have an EpiPen back at camp, or we have extras at the health lodge. If the scout doesn't have it and he runs into problems, whatever it may be, away from that EpiPen, the time it takes to get that EpiPen could be critical. So we're hoping COVID's going to be better this summer. We did have about 30% of our staff come down with COVID last year. Very few of the campers, but unfortunately quite a few of the staff, because we are there for 7 weeks and people are coming and going. So goes without saying, if anybody has any cold or flu-like symptoms, fevers, chills, abdominal pain, do not come to camp. Do not bring them to camp. If everybody in the family is sick except for the one scout, we've had that before where they send the one scout, and by the time he gets to camp, he comes down with whatever the family has. Please don't let that scout come to camp. It's very tough on the staff when they get sick and trying to provide a good program for you when our staff ends up going down. We will, right now, it's highly recommended that everybody tests before they come to camp. We have free COVID tests that will be available at the council office. So you can come and get as many as you want. They'll be available at the new office as of May 15th. And obviously, if anybody tests positive, they will be going home ASAP. And that's why we have the consent to transport document too.
Just to chime in here really quick, we also are running our solo camper or provisional camper program the whole summer. So if there is someone who tests positive before camp and they can't come up, we are happy to take them later in the summer as a participant and transfer their registration to the appropriate week. We'll definitely help out with that. And this is me. So t-shirt ordering. We will have a troop t-shirt order available. That is the gobbledygook link there at the bottom, but we will be sending it out in a much nicer format to folks in an update email. This is a May 20th order deadline. That's to get the t-shirts into camp on time. The base price for the t-shirt is $19.95, which is basically the price that we had last year. This is compared to the $25 price for a t-shirt in the trading post. There is an upcharge for larger sizes, but there is no charge for getting your troop number printed on the sleeve. You do have to have a minimum of 8 items to get the number of your troop printed on the sleeve, which is why we encourage units to order these t-shirts together as opposed to one individual buying 8 t-shirts on their own. But individuals can make an order for t-shirts as well. So you don't need to feel left out if your troop is not buying a group t-shirt order. You can indeed order these individually. This is the t-shirt design that we're going with, and as you can see, the text and the logo that are in green are in glow in the dark. So that should be fun and nice, and it's definitely on theme with this summer. And there's a reason that the night sky is on the t-shirt, but I'm not going to ruin the surprise. That'll come up a little bit later. And these t-shirts will be available during check-in at camp. Normally, that will be me or Bruce or someone in the office, and we will hand you these t-shirts once you finish check-in so that you have them on that first day. And that moves into the next slide, which is we're going to have some special order trading post items specifically for this year. These items you'll be able to order them prior to camp around that May 15th or May 20th deadline as well. These are a polo shirt with a 75th anniversary logo, Camp High Sierra pajama bottoms, and a Camp High Sierra pullover hoodie. You will also be able to order these at camp, but of course they will be delivered once camp is complete. And there will be also new regular items in the trading post, one of which we have a picture of, the bucket hat. The reason that bucket hat is white is so that you will be able to tie-dye it, like folks are able to tie-dye the white t-shirts that we have with the Camp High Sierra logo on them. And we are also ordering new belts, both web belts and leather belts, and these are going to be in the larger sizes as well as the smaller sizes we've been carrying for the last couple of years. So if you are someone like me who is XXX, you will be able to finally get a belt that is repping Camp High Sierra. Any questions so far? Maybe not.
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question. So how do the solo campers order their t-shirts if there's a 8 item minimum?
The 8 item minimum is to get the troop number on the sleeve. The solo campers will be able to order a t-shirt. They just won't be able to get their troop number on the sleeve of the shirt.
I see. Okay, thank you.
No problem. And then moving on to Gavin.
All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the Saga of High Sierra. The Saga of High Sierra is our service organization. So we can hand out things called bead sheets, which have a list of requirements for each rank, which are Seeker, Guardian, Trailblazer, Legend, and Great Legend. So as you go throughout the week, you can do things like skills of the day or open program stuff or various service projects and basically earn a rank in the Saga of High Sierra. It's a great way to give back to camp and also a great way to try some things at camp that you haven't done before, see a different viewpoint, do a few different things. And it's a way to, it's something that you can do each year as you come back to camp. Generally, the procedure is 1 week per rank, and then you can get lots of fun beads while doing it. And it is also open to both adults and youth. So if you're up there for the week, then you can work on this as well. It's a lot of fun.
Speaking of a lot of fun, so we have some very important 2024 program notes for you. This is all of our brand new stuff. So even though Open Program isn't necessarily new, we learned a lot from what we did last year with Open Program and look forward to expanding it with some new activities, bringing back a few old favorites from last year. So you can expect like the same old tie-dyeing, but we're also trying to do some new stuff as well. Speaking of new stuff, we are combining our geology with our soil and water merit badge class to kind of bring geology back into camp, as well as combine fish and wildlife management with mammal studies. So that's 2 brand new merit badges kind of brought together in a combined merit badge format for this upcoming year. So long as weather cooperates, we will be pouring concrete for our new rifle range and cowboy action range, which will, replace the old one that fell down in winter storms. On the screen, you can see an amazing photo of our flag meadow covered with boats. So those are all from the Tahoe Maritime Foundation. And we're excited to have brand new sailboats sailing up at Pinecrest this summer, as well as a brand new observatory, as Dylan kind of wink hinted at, with a $17,000 telescope that's already been purchased. We're really excited to get that up and running this upcoming year. Speaking of merit badges, so we do have some important age minimums. Most of these are recommendations, as well as some of them are national standards. We do kind of strictly adhere to these. Of course, case by case basis happen. So if there is a certain scout that you think is eligible, just shoot it over to us in the email format and we can look at certain things on a case by case. Most of these are safety is paramount. So things like shooting sports does have certain minimums that we need to enforce, like shotgun, cowboy action, rifle shooting, and just general camp safety.
Oh, that's me. All right. So on the merit badges, there are a few merit badges that have fees associated with them because there's a material cost. They're listed here: archery, rifle, shotgun, pottery, welding, metalworking, and small boat sailing. The fees are pretty much flat from last year. So that will show up when you sign your scouts up through Black Pug for their merit badges. And it will be due either when you check out and when you sign the scouts up, or at the very latest, it will be the first thing you do when you come to camp. When you check in, we need to have you even up on all merit badge fees. As I mentioned, we are with Black Pug. We had Tentru last year, and through some feedback from campers, we decided to change companies and we are going with Black Pug. So everything is digital. So all your signing up will be digital. It'll be a little different this year, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But at the end of the summer, you'll get a printout and you'll get a file that you can actually import into Scoutbook. And you'll also be able to export your scouts from Scoutbook into Black Pug, so you don't have to fill out all their information. Troop arrivals, we have a limited parking, so if you can, please carpool. If you do have parents that are just dropping off, they are going to need to drop off, use the bathroom, and leave. We just don't have room. It's a small road coming down. It's big enough that we can bring a bus down, but when we have a bus down, having a bunch of people trying to leave, going out, it gets very congested. So please carpool. Please don't have one parent drive one scout. We've seen that too many times. It just will clog up the whole system and it'll make for a very unpleasant day. Fires, we're hoping that this is going to be a good summer again. We didn't have any problems last year. We had enough rain that the Cal Fire didn't shut us down, but we are limited by Cal Fire to go ahead and if we can burn in the campfires in the campsites or not. As I mentioned, we have Black Pug. We are having a specific training on May 7th. That's recommended for each troop to go over how to sign up for merit badges, unless you've already done it with another camp. But we're looking forward to using Black Pug. All right, so the way we do it is we sign up by the week that you're attending camp. So if you're attending camp week 1 on May 13th at 7 p.m., the registration for that week opens up. If we have a full week, all of our merit badges are going to get taken up. And so you need to be there to sign your scouts up. Now, one of the big differences between Tentru and Black Pug, and this is one of the main reasons we changed, is in Tentru, you could only have one person sign up your whole troop. And if you had 50 people in your troop, that was kind of put you at a disadvantage. Now you can have multiple people signing up and you can contact Janet, whose email's at the bottom, and we will send out these slides at the end to get multiple logins for your troop. You also have the ability to let your scout parents sign up the scouts. Personally, I'm a scoutmaster myself, and I don't think that's a wise idea, but that is an option. If they can't get into the class, that will kind of come back to you of why they couldn't get in. So that's why we suggest having a scoutmaster and maybe some ASMs or committee members help sign you up. All right, so here's Black Pug. These are just some real basic overview slides. So when you should have already gotten a link to this on how to sign up. And this is how you register your unit into Black Pug. This will also look at creating an account, setting up, making sure everybody's trained that needs to be trained, and signing up for the merit badges coming up in May. And again, this is just a form that basically shows you all the information. A lot of this will be preloaded because if you're in our council, we will be able to put this information in for you. If you're not, you're going to need to enter this in before you sign up for merit badges, because you can imagine you don't want to be spending the time putting in all this information the night of signing up for merit badges. It'll delay you considerably. So you definitely want to put this in.
And the big thing that we'll call people's attention to is this is where you put in special dietary restrictions for each of your individuals in your troop, both your youth members and your adult members. And we will look at this report 2 weeks prior to each week. We will pull the report and look at it. That doesn't mean that we're not also going to look during medical check, but we will order a lot of the food before your troop even arrives in camp. So we're going to be using the information that gets inputted beforehand. And we do pride ourselves on keeping to folks' dietary restrictions and offering meals that are both delicious and nutritious for all the folks who are coming.
Just a quick note, this is the event registration form. Our summer camp registration form will be slightly different, but basically we're asking for the same information, but not this particular form. Just a quick note.
All right. Thanks, Janet. For everybody that just heard her, that was Janet. That's the person with the link on the bottom. So the face behind the magic that goes on at the council office. Just touching a little more on what Dylan said about dietary restrictions. There are 3 ways that we really look at dietary restrictions and needs. 1 is here in Black Pug, 2 is the health form. But the third one is please, the week before camp, if you have a parent or a scout master that wants to talk about dietary restrictions for a scout, email me and I'll set up a time to call you and we'll go over it. Clearly understand when somebody is very allergic to something, and we've been doing this for many years and we haven't lost a scout yet. And I personally myself have quite a few dietary restrictions. I have food allergies, and we're more than willing to work through these. So please just give us a call.
And
All
one of the biggest things for Black Pug, I'll take this because I've used it a lot. There is a good support button on the bottom right-hand side. Whenever you're using it, you can not only find how-to videos and how-to slides all over the place that they have done a good job of producing, but you can also type in a question, and they're very good about getting back to someone who puts in a question. Normally they get back within a couple of hours. They do know that it's going to be a busy time with all of the merit badge registrations happening, and they've got a very good team behind them. Yoink. And that's me for Adopt a Campsite. So we've got an event coming up before camp where units are encouraged to adopt a campsite. So either the campsite that they're staying in for this summer or one that they have a long historic tie to. It doesn't just need to be the campsite. Of course, we will be doing service all around camp in the program areas and in some of the general areas as well. This event is a great camping event. It is only $30 per person. That covers meals from Saturday breakfast through Sunday lunch. There are optional meals if you would like to stay longer for Sunday dinner and Monday breakfast. This is over Memorial Day weekend. We do have also a first-time offer, so we're going to be giving everyone who attends the Adopt a Campsite weekend a special voucher. This will cover a buy one t-shirt, get a second free t-shirt at the trading post, or a purchase of $20 and you get $10 off of that total purchase. So this will be a special voucher that we're giving out only at the Adopt a Campsite event. We've gotten some folks who are requesting a special incentive to recognize everyone who comes up and does service. And we would love to have your unit come up and do service. Obviously, I'm going to pick on, I believe it's Michael Pettibone is here from Reno, Troop 7322. Might be a little bit hard for you folks to come out to the Adopt a Campsite event, but it might not be. You may have a group that wants to come out. We certainly would encourage you to do so. And we've got another, of course, service opportunity at camp as well, which is the Order of the Arrow Ordeal, which is the weekend after the Adopt a Campsite. Obviously, you must be registered with the Order of the Arrow. and you either need to be a candidate for the ordeal or serving as staff to come to that. But we very much thank all the folks who come out and do prep work to get camp in a great state, ready for all the campers who are coming, and specifically for the next event that we're having. So we are, of course, having our 75th anniversary this year. Hopefully you've seen the patch in the upper left-hand corner. Everyone's gonna get a special patch. We're gonna be doing a special celebration each week, but we have a day where we are going to do a alumni celebration kickoff. That's gonna be June 15th from 1 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And this is really focused on anyone who has been to camp in the last 75 years, either as a scout, a scouter, a staffer, maybe they've come up for an event and done some family camping or something like that. You are all welcome. We're going to be focused on memorabilia displays, camp tours. There's going to be a memorial area, and we are going to either have a presentation or a tour, if everything is ready to go and to show people, of the new observatory and the rifle range. There will be a tot lot because we are encouraging families to come up for the event. And we know that having small children is one of the things that families generally have. There will be plenty of pickup activities and program that will be offered, and it'll culminate, because we're at camp, in a campfire. You can see the prices there for everything. The big thing to draw folks' attention to is the overnight option is for adults only. So to stay the night, you need to be 18 plus. Which is why we're also running the event 1 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. We know that folks will need to get back down home in appropriate time. And this link is live, so you can already start registering for this event. There are limited spaces available because we cannot fill up the entirety of the whole camp. We expect there to be far more people wanting to come to this event than there actually will be spaces. So sign up early. Don't sign up often, just sign up once, but you know what I'm saying. And that moves us to the last slide, which is questions. So hopefully there are a lot of questions that have been answered throughout the presentation, but we can also open up the floor to anyone who has a question now.
Yes, can I have a question?
Go for it, Kong.
Yes. So earlier you mentioned about the combination two merit badge class together. So if two, then scout on two merit badge or just one?
They're in both.
Both.
Okay, both.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll talk to this because I was a nature director eons ago. Fish and Wildlife Management and Mammal Study are both badges that are great for first or second year scouts because they're relatively easy, but they also have a tremendous amount of overlap between the two badges, including a conservation project. So one of the days is doing a conservation project that will meet the major requirement for both badges. And that's why they fit really well together. Same thing with soil and water conservation and geology. They're kind of natural pairings, but we also have game design and chess and salesmanship and entrepreneurship. And I never taught those and I didn't earn them, but Michael, those fit together pretty well, I'm assuming as well. I got a nod.
Thank
out
you.
of
So
it.
my second, I'm sorry. So my next question is, so talking about the driver and the adult leader. So the driver who still gonna stay overnight still need to do the youth protection, right?
Yes, they need to be registered scout leaders. So they have to be.
Really?
Yes. That was,
Really?
yeah, that started December or September of last year.
BSA national policy changed September 1, 2023.
So even though that they don't stay overnight, they still need to be the registered BSA,
Yes, if they're driving a scout youth, they need to be registered BSA.
even though they don't stay.
Yes, if they are
All right.
driving a scout youth, they need to be registered adult in BSA.
So that's what you should be doing in troop outings too, right now.
That is not a specific requirement of this camp. That's BSA national policy. There's two questions.
Oh, so that even if the troop camp, if we have the camp, and then the parents drive the scout to camp, they also need to be a registered PSA.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Even they drive their scout, their son, they still need to be the registered PSA.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Gavin, someone asked a question about SPL week. Can you please speak to that?
Yeah, sure. So the idea of the SPL week is you come up before your troop is up, and then the SPL spends that time taking merit badges and getting the feel for camp. So that way, when their troop is up there, then they can really focus on leading their troop and guiding it through their week at High Sierra. While they're at camp, they stay in our CIT village with other SPLs and other counselors in training. So they're surrounded by people their age. Every SPL who's done it has like all the SPLs generally come together and they become good friends by the end of the week, and everyone has a great time. And so then when their troops are up, then they can all be better prepared to lead it.
Dylan, can you please go back to the slide that references the date of merit badge sign up, please?
And I saw a good question here. If you're coming by bus, what does that mean for the bus driver? I think that's a question we're going to have to take away and ask. So again, this is a slide. So if you're going up week 5 on May 16th at 7 p.m., registration will open up. We will have a group of people that will man the phones if you have any questions, but that will be the date that you sign up your troop and your scouts for their merit badges.
And my question is, we gonna get the link for that day, right?
So you should have already gotten the link for signing up for Black Pug. That's what we talked about on a few slides back. And if you haven't, contact Janet and she will help you with that.
Okay, thank you.
I will send out an update about the bus driver question after I talk with the appropriate folks that I would need to talk to make sure that we get that. I imagine that since it's an outside company, there might be, I'm not gonna give an answer until we figure that out. But that's something we definitely do. There was a question about the water temperature. It is cold, but part of what makes it feel very cold is the temperature difference. Obviously in the summer, it is been getting hotter. So if it is a 95 degree to 100 degree day in the afternoon, and you are jumping into 58 to 62 degree water, that is a massive temperature difference. It'll feel very cold in the same way that if in the morning you're doing the bear paw, or not the bear paw, but the polar bear, the water will generally feel warm if the air is cold. So that's one of the things that's happening there. We also saw a question of if 2 scouts need to get picked up because they're sick, can one parent come and pick up both? If they're a registered leader, absolutely. Can come and pick up both. That would be fine as long as they can transport both of them.
Yeah, and there was another question about adult leader training. Yes, we do have a couple different adult leader trainings. It is in the program guide and the merit badge signups that's been posted online. We have
Michael
plenty
answered
to
that
keep
as well.
adults. What was that?
Michael answered that in writing as well.
Okay.
We're up to date on the text questions.
I have a question if possible.
Sure.
Janet, this one might be for you, but in regards to the registration, preparing for the registration, sign up, merit badge sign up, sorry. When you go into the site, it shows you can export an Excel file of the roster, right? And there's so many columns. There's like over 20 something columns of fields. And I know you said there will be one that's different from the one that was shown, but are we going to have to, I don't know, is what's going to sync over from Scout Book? Is there going to be stuff in there that it's going to expect? I mean, because like a lot of kids don't have cell phones and stuff like that. Is that going to be?
I guess I'm not understanding the question.
Okay. Well, I exported the file of the roster out of Black Pug, right? And
Okay.
It's got 26 columns. Now you guys are saying that this form is going to pull all the stuff from Scout Book. I'm sure a lot of this stuff is not in Scout Book. So are they required? Is it only going to grab required fields out of Scout Book?
It's more of a
Right.
Janet question.
Yeah.
Ryan, I can kind of answer this because I've used Black Pug years previously with other camps. And I don't remember the specifics, but I know it was very easy to download the file and just import it directly into Scout Book. And Scout Book knows what it's getting. It's
Okay.
they've already negotiated that. So nothing to
Okay.
worry about. It works smoothly.
Yeah, I didn't want something to show up on the day of merit badge things that was required and it didn't get pulled over.
This is not about registering for merit badges.
I'm
This
sorry, I meant merit badge sign.
Okay, so that's something separate. Just to clarify, the thing that's going to be imported into Scout Book comes after camp when you want the merit badge completions and parcels. That's what's uploaded to Scout Book. Bruce actually mentioned how the information will be pre-populated, at least if you're units from this council,
Yes.
perhaps outside, and alluded to before merit badge signups. I'm almost positive not all of the scouts in your unit will be going to camp. Somebody before registration day should go in and select which scouts are going in those positions. And you want to do that before registration night because that's just going to consume time of trying to pick classes. So that's the part you need to do. That it should be imported on your roster, but then you have to assign people to the event.
Yep. One of the nice things about Black Pug in comparison to Tentaroo is the council is inputting our membership information into Black Pug. And then you can pull from that information as opposed to having to do it all from scratch yourself, which is what Tentaroo was.
Yeah, we had a hiccup last year where the night of the merit badge signups, it stopped us because some required fields weren't filled out. And if we wouldn't, that they were required, but they weren't actually marked as required in the profile. So it kind of stopped us in our tracks. So I just wanted to prevent that from happening again. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, thank you. This is normally the best informative section for all the folks who come and watch this video later. So if you have a question that is good for the group, please let us know. And once again, I will say thank you for everyone for attending. The more we get out of the way before camp, the better camp is going to be for all the people who are there. And we definitely want things to be great for everyone who comes to camp. If you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to get a hold of me, Bruce, Michael, Gavin less so, and Michael less so because they are, actively engaged folks in things like school. And I would love to answer the questions for them, but if they are program oriented, we can get you to them.
So are you gonna send out the slide for the meeting today?
Yep, these slides will be posted to the resources section of the website. We'll post the video there as well. And that's the same place the new to camp presentation got posted. And we will also post the second meeting as well. So if you want to go through and kind of just skip to the end to see if different questions were asked, you can definitely do that for the second meeting that's coming up in a few weeks.
Thank you.
Michael, there was a question about treacle sign-offs. Can you answer that?
Ooh, I got this one. I was trailed.
Working on typing it. Oh, what were you gonna say?
So I got it. So for Trail to Eagle merit badges, they will be signed off by counselors at camp. If you have done the preregs and everything, then we'll sign off the merit badge for you. This is a difference for it's a difference for that and requirements, like requirements for tenderfoot, second class, and first class. What we do for those is we sign off requirement cards and then give them to you, the adult leaders, so you guys can test them on what they learned, or just sign it off for that. But for the merit badges, then the staff will sign them off.
And again, if you're new and haven't been to High Sierra, I highly recommend watching the video, new to High Sierra, or coming to the next new leaders meeting. We talk about things some people don't realize we're at 5,000 feet. Some people don't realize that the campsites are uphill. And we don't want anybody to be upset when they get there and find out it's something they didn't expect.
Something that wasn't specifically mentioned, but the Adopt a Campsite weekend is an excellent opportunity to introduce your parents that may not be attending camp with their youth for the first time to the camp. It gives them the ability to go to camp, see what their youth is going to be away for 5 days, and get a sense of what's going to be imposed upon their kid for the next 5 days. So if you have the ability to attend that, it's a good icebreaker for new parents as well.
My last question. Since this year is a special year, we celebrate 75 years. So is there any new things regarding the dust?
I'm sorry, any new what?
Is there any more dust abatement controls in place?
No.
There is a long-term dust abatement plan where we are going to put significant work into all three of the meadows. Where we are planning to fertilize them and plant new grass and whatnot, but that is a very long-term plan because it's pretty expensive to do that. So that's something that we will be doing over time. We will be putting down some gravel, as always, and in some places there will be straw, but it's the same sort of dust abatement that we've done in previous years.
Okay, so you know what? If we don't have the long-term plan now, can we do some kind of a short-term plan?
Well,
Just
it has
kidding.
been a wetter year, and we noticed last year we didn't have near as much dust because of the nice wet weather we had. So hopefully it will hold again this summer too.
Thank you.
Besides, it smells like chocolate. I know I'm one of the weird people, but I think the dust smells like chocolate.
Yes.
No comment.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording. Sometimes there are people who are shy and want to ask questions after the recording is stopped, but I'm gonna stop it right now. So thank you everyone for coming. This is what will be posted to the website.
Thank you very much. I'm looking for being at camp this year.
Right.